What is going on, everyone? We're back. We're going to be doing another review today. Today, we're going to be reviewing Papillon, the movie with Charlie Hunnam and amongst many other actors. And I just literally watched this movie yesterday, and I gotta say, this was a magnificent film. It was a good film. It really shocked me. It was something different. So I figured I'd share it with you guys. If you guys are not familiar with this movie, it is a remake that did star Dustin Hoffman. It also had Steve McQueen in it as well. But in this one, it's a lot more updated, and it does take place in the 1940s, I believe. I want to say the 1940s. And we do have where Charlie Hunnam's character plays as Papillon. He is wrongfully accused in a murder that he did not commit. He is with his girlfriend, and he gets taken away by the police, wrongfully unjusted. He's in prison for many years, and he comes across another character that is by the name of Lewis, and he has a tremendous amount of money. He's a millionaire, so he basically will tell him, okay, I'll protect you, but you also got to help me out. And so what's very interesting is that throughout the entire movie, Rami Malek, his character Lewis, he uses all his money to try to help himself, as well as Papillon try to escape the island, because they're on Devil's Island. And we see throughout the entire movie, they hate each other at first, but then it's like they got no choice but to work together, and then they become friends. And there's just so much in this movie that really shocked me. There was a lot of that really was like how it was back in the day when you get into prison, because there was a lot of, Charlie Hunnam's character going to solitary confinement for 5 years, and if you talked, it got worse for you. And also, if he basically was in solitary confinement for 5 years for the very first time he tried escaping, and that was because him and Lewis had to dump a body, and Lewis couldn't take it, so he pretty much just, like, he broke. And Charlie Hunnam's character made a run for it, and he got caught, and then he got in solitary confinement for 5 years. So then, later on again, they try to get into, make him think that he's crazy, and he's not. He basically shows that he looks crazy, but he's actually not. So him and a few others do try to make a plan to escape, and it almost works, but then we do see where they are ready to escape. There's a big storm because all the heavy, the warden and the friends of him, they're watching some old movie, and it starts to rain, and so that just makes it even worse for them. And then when the lights do go out, we do see where Lewis gets them free out of the, I want to say the, one of the wards, and then they make a run for it. They go over the wall, but then Lewis drops. He hurts his leg very badly, so they have to carry him to the boat. And when they finally do get to a certain area, we do see another familiar face. We see Tommy Flanagan. He basically did play in this for a short, just for a short role, and he basically is the one that's covering with the boat with one of the other characters. And they finally do get on the boat with one of the other characters. He kind of really goes nuts, because he's basically saying, if we don't get rid of him, then we're gonna basically lose everything we got. He says, I'm not gonna die for him. So he tries to attack Lewis, and then Lewis basically tries to defend himself. But then next thing you know, we see Charlie Hunnam's character. He gets in it, and then we also does see where they go back and forth with fighting one another. And then we also see where Lewis does kill him. They put the body overboard, and then we also see the other character. They go into like some island after a big storm, and it's basically run by a convent. Well, the convent does turn them into the authorities, and once that happens, we do see where they are brought back, and the only ones that survived was Charlie Hunnam's character, as well as Lewis, and then we do see where Lewis was already shipped to Devil's Island, and we also see where Papillon, he was in solitary confinement again, but then we also do see where he gets shipped to Devil's Island as well, so they both come up with a plan of how to escape. But it's mainly Papillon's plan. He wants to get out of there finally because it's basically do or die at this point. He's been in prison for several years now, and I think he just, you see at this point where he just wants to live, and they basically make a boat. He does say goodbye to Lewis because Lewis makes the decision to stay, and Papillon does live. And he goes several years later in the 60s, and he goes back to France, and even though he is still a wanted man in many countries, he wants to basically make an autobiography why he still has the memories of everything he went through. And that's basically how it ends. And it's basically, I'm giving you guys the summarized version of what happened, but this movie was absolutely great. It was not the normal movie I would watch. I am a fan of Charlie Hunnam's work, and I figured, I was like, I'm gonna check this out. This is something different for him. I'm gonna check this out. I am a fan of his since Sons of Anarchy, and I've seen a few of his other movies since he got out of that. But I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. If you guys are a fan of Charlie Hunnam's work, if you guys are a fan of prison movies, if you guys are a fan of dramas, action, adventure, suspense, I do recommend you guys watch this. I give this a for drama and prison movies, I give this maybe a 9 out of 10. A few things I did not like. It was kind of drug out in a couple of areas, but for the performance that these two men gave is absolutely phenomenal. And also what they did, for I saw interviews that Charlie put himself in an actual cell that they had on set, and he was in there for 8 days, and he stated that if he did not do this for 8 days, then he did not deserve to be this character because the character was in solitary confinement for 5 years. So I do think this was a great film. I hope you guys check it out. If you guys have time, it is out right now, so definitely go check it out. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. If you guys have not seen the movie, then go ahead and check it out. If you guys have already seen it, please let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. If you guys are new to the channel, consider about subscribing. Also, links down below if you guys want to give me a follow on my social media. Also, click the notification bell, helps myself out, helps you guys out to make sure every time I upload a video, you guys are notified. Hope you guys are enjoying your day once again, and I'll be seeing you guys on the very next one.